Max Mosberg, business development and sales based in Germany. And he will talk about submicron and high viscosity patterning with EHD. Very good. Welcome on stage, Max.
Thank you so much. Before I start off, I think I'll just say a couple of things to our company, who we are. So as it says right big here on the slide, we are Notion Systems. We're a company that lives and breathes anything inkjet. We're located in Germany, in Heidelberg. Many of you may know it's about an hour south of Frankfurt. And we have some offices located all around the world. So my topic today is concerning EHD. And commonly when I talk to people about EHD or when I'm at a conference and so on, a lot of people don't really know what EHD is. It stands for electro-hydrodynamic printing. And today my goal is kind of to give you a crash course on this technology. So when we meet the next time, we can discuss in detail what your applications are and we can dive right in. So I'll start off basically giving you a current overview of the electronic manufacturing landscape. Then I'll go into inkjet printing, which more of you maybe probably are familiar with. And afterwards, I'll step over to EHD printing. I think this always makes sense to do it this way. So let's look at how electronics are manufactured. So right here, we see a PCB, which you all know. And in general, electronics are manufactured by a series of process steps. Here, I've opted to select, as an example, using an LDI for the manufacturing of this PCB, but they're more or less similar. So usually you start with some kind of substrate you already have pre-manufactured. You have a pre-treatment on the substrate. Afterwards, you have a coating of the substrate with the material you're actually looking to applying. And this is generally a homogeneous application to the whole substrate. Afterwards, you have a drying process, an exposing process. Here, as I mentioned, in this case, an LDI. Afterwards, you develop the substrate where you basically throw away, I don't know, let's say 90%, 80% of the material you applied in the first place because you only needed it on specific points. And afterwards, you do a final cure. And if you really think about this process of how it is today, you have a very high consumption and even waste of material. You have a very, very high use of energy for these processes. And also very important is the waste of water through these series of process steps. So as I mentioned, one of the solutions and one of our standard processes we offer is inkjet as an alternative to this. It's been mentioned by some of my speakers before me. Just very briefly, what is inkjet? Inkjet is like your printer at home where you print on your paper. It's a method of fully digital printing material where you need it in the first place. So to give you a sense of scope and scale, the theoretical limit is somewhere around 20 to 30 micron structuring size with inkjet. So this would be about an 8 picoliter droplet. Inkjet is very fast with up to 100 kilohertz, droplets per second per nozzles. It's highly parallel. You have multi-nozzles and even multiple print heads in one system. And as I mentioned, fully digital. So you only place the material where you need it in the first place. So let's look at the same process again. With this fully digital inkjet process, what does it look like? Also, by the way, similar for EHD. Here, again, you have a pre-manufactured substrate. You print the material where you needed it in the first place, right? The material goes straight where it's needed and avoids the places where it's not needed. You have a cure and you're done. So as you can see, instead of 6 process steps, we only need 3 at the end. Once again, if you think about that, you have a much lower consumption of material, a much lower consumption of energy, and a much lower water usage. And also on the economical side, not only on the ecological side, you reduce process steps very drastically. You reduce shop floor space, which I know especially in Europe is very, very valuable. You reduce the personnel you need to manage these machines. You reduce the capital invest because all of a sudden you only need 3 machines instead of 6. And in turn, also maintenance costs is reduced. All right. And with this offers us, makes it possible for us as Notion Systems to apply inkjet and EHD to a whole plethora of applications. Just a quick overview, we call this as one-stop solution provider. We're active in electronic